The Underhive isn't one endless wasteland. It's a labyrinth of completely different zones, each shaped by centuries of war, industry, neglect, or simple decay. Some are drowning beneath toxic waste, others have become battlefields where gangs have fought for generations, and some are so old that time itself has become the greatest threat. Every zone has its own history, its own people, and its own way of surviving in a place that was never meant to support life. So in this video, we're going to descend through every major zone of the Underhive, one by one, to see what each place is, who lives there, and why no two parts of Necromunda's underworld are ever the same. Hive Bottom. This one never stops. Every factory, every manufactorum, every hab block above discharges its waste, and it all goes down. Not once. Constantly. There's no single disaster you can point to. It's a process that's been running since the Hive was built, and it's still running right now, while you watch this. That waste settles into a vast radioactive lake, called the Sump. Nothing survives down here except mutants, born from generations of toxic runoff, who never see anything but darkness. No house claims responsibility, because no house is responsible alone. Every hive above just sends its filth down and forgets it exists. Sump Sea. The Sump Sea is what happens after the sump has nowhere left to go. Centuries of waste, pooled into a lake so thick that entire levels can't be crossed on foot. You need a boat. You need a bridge. There's no other way through. People live here, not just pass through. Outcasts build fungus farms along the sludge banks, because in a lake full of runoff, fungus is one of the only things that'll actually grow. It's the only food some of these families have ever known, and nobody up in the hive has any real incentive to fix it. It's a dumping ground that also happens to be somebody's home. Solving it means displacing the people who built a life around it. This is basically every company town next to a disaster. Nobody profiting from the mess wants to be the one who cleans it, because cleaning it means the profit stops too. Traasier is different. Here the danger isn't chemical, it's human, and it's often the same age as you. It's the main trading depot for every southern convoy on Necromunda, and that alone is enough to kill people. More trade means more wealth. More wealth means more people willing to kill for it. House Orlok runs the manufacturing base, but House Goliath has been steadily creeping into the furnace sectors for years, a slow-motion territory grab, because whoever controls the furnaces controls the hive's output. Here's the twist. You'd expect the worst violence to come from below the desperate, the starving. It doesn't. It comes from above. Noble youths called brat gangs ride rare, brightly painted jet bikes through the transit tubes, purely for the thrill of it, terrorizing commoners along the way. For a ganger fighting over the furnace sectors, this is survival food, territory, family. For a brat, it's a weekend. Same gunfight, same street, completely different stakes for the two sides holding the guns. That gap is what actually kills people here, not one war, but two very different reasons to be shooting at each other in the same place. Cindurak City. In Cindurak, history never stays buried. Every generation inherits somebody else's war, and that's exactly what's still killing people here today. In 459M37, Lord Hiroto Helmer died without naming an heir. His children, Lady Cindurak and Lord Gothril, fought for over a century. Cindurak I imprisoned her brother in his own hive, now called Gothril's Needle, and sealed off trade so nobody could deal with him directly. Ships that tried got shot down for centuries. That wreckage field is still called the Hive Mortis today. That's the old war. The new one is recent. When Lord Helmar was struck down, and the planet scrambled for power, the fighting landed on Cindurak City, the trade hub sitting near the crater from that ancient conflict. House Escher and the rebel noble Lady Credo besieged it. House Goliath tried to break a starvation blockade by taking it, and Escher held the city when the smoke cleared, cutting House Helmar off from a major piece of Palatine cluster trade. Two wars, 7,000 years apart, fought over the same patch of ground. If you're born here, that's the inheritance. Somebody else's grudge decides whether your convoy makes it through. Hive Mortis. This one starts as a tragedy and ends as an industry. A sickness spread through the underclasses, and at first nobody took it seriously. Deaths get written off as seasonal all the time in a hive. By the time Lord Helmar found out, his response was immediate. The entire hive was sealed by imperial order. Whoever was inside stayed inside. The plague burned for years before it ran its course. By the end, it had taken more than 20 million lives behind a single locked gate. No war involved at all. When the gates reopened, the workforce was gone. The only resource left in abundance was corpses. Mortuary cults formed, and House Escher rose to dominance, fermenting drugs out of the dead. The trade only grows if the supply does, which means, in Hive Mortis, staying alive and staying useful have stopped being the same thing. Stygian Depths. No villain here. No war. Just time. Centuries of wait crack a hive's foundations eventually. And in the Stygian Depths, those cracks have opened into real chasms between domes, crossed only by rusting gantries hanging in total darkness. Nobody's fixing it, and there's no mystery why. Every house spends its money on sectors that are still producing. A slowly widening crack isn't worth investing in, until the moment it collapses completely, and by then, it's too late anyway. So the whole zone is a collapse everybody can see coming, and nobody stops, because stopping it costs more than letting it fall. Outlands. This zone isn't made by environment or war, it's made by the houses themselves, one exile at a time. Anyone thrown out for a crime, a debt, or sometimes just an ancestral sin committed generations back, ends up here, past the bad zones, where civilization has genuinely given up. Some Outlanders descend from escaped helots. Some are the last remnants of houses that don't exist on paper anymore. Most of them don't see this as a punishment anymore. A lot treat their exile as proof of strength. Society rejected them, so they stopped needing society. They hunt their own food, build their own defenses, answer to no house. But a settlement built over years can be wiped out in a week, and not always by an outside enemy. Sometimes it's their own people turning on each other. Here's what actually says the most. The harder Necromunda's houses are on their people, the bigger the Outlands get. It's not a fixed place, it's a running tally of everyone the system decided wasn't worth keeping. The children born out there will grow up never once knowing what it felt like to belong to a house. For them, that absence is just normal. Here's the truth every one of these zones quietly agrees on. Work hard, stay loyal to somebody stronger than you, and maybe, eventually, things get better. And yet, in every one of these zones, the Sludge Lake, the Crater City, the Plague Hive, the Exile Wastes, billions of people are still living actual lives. They fall in love in places that were never built for it. They raise kids who've never seen real light. They tell each other stories about the day it gets better, even in a lake made of everyone else's garbage. The Underhive doesn't need everyone to escape it. It just needs enough people to believe they still can. Which of these 7 zones do you think you'd actually survive in?